today at the Worthington Diamond Recovery Plant. We're located just a short distance outside of the famous Crater of Diamond State Park in southwest Arkansas. I'm going to put this sluice back together. The other day, I had promised, when the sluice was running and it was catching rocks, I promised to show cleaning out the sluice. Well, I did that video. I had one take and I forgot to turn the microphone on. So I thought, well, I'll make a video of putting the sluice back together then. So it's all cleaned out. Everything went down here into a big tub. And I put the mat back in there. And I'll drop this down. See how these are made to where as gravel comes down here, it washes over this. I've got two pumps that force water down here and move the gravel along, and as it does, the heavies drop out behind these riffles in the sluice. And we've got little clips to clip that in. So that was the easy part. Now it gets a little more complicated. Rather than just a simple sluice all the way down, Keen Engineering designed a 3-stage sluice. And all you got to do is remember to put all the pieces together in the right order. So simple. So I lay this mat down, and this is mainly used to catch gold. Yeah, I am looking for gold here, but no, I don't think there is much of any in Arkansas. This is a little expanded metal piece, and it would catch fine things that go down here. This makes, I feel like a magician. And I slide it in between somebody. But now this goes down here, and this forces water not to just go over it, but to go under this as well. And it forces the smaller material down here into this lower area where there's less hydraulic force, less water pushing it along, and it allows the heavies to drop out better. All right. So as you can see, the water come down, and then it goes into this, and then it'll come back up and also go down here as well. So it's really a pretty cool design. They knew what they were doing. But then here on top, so everything goes like this. Okay. That doesn't go in there. This flips over here. It's been a while since I put it back together. In fact, it's been a while since I took it apart. I did it the other day when I realized I didn't have the sound on. I was aggravated and I just walked away from it. So anyhow, you clip all this in, pulls that down tight, and then, now I remember, this mat goes in here. This coarser mat goes on top of it. This goes like this and clips in here. So anyhow, that's how the sluice goes back together. So you've got all these riffles, and then material can drop down there, and then other material go over the top here, and hopefully if you've got any diamonds or gold or any other heavy minerals. So these are the oversized rocks. So up here, everything goes in. Dirt, large rocks, smaller rocks. I mean, it looks like dirt. It's volcanic ore, but I mean, the sand size material goes in with everything else. It goes through the large rotary scrubber, and then heavy, I mean great big rocks discharge out the end. We really don't have much of it. Most of the rest of everything comes down that chute, that sluice, into this lower sluice, and there it's divided into two sizes. As this rotary trommel turns, the small stuff drops through the small screen first, the coarser stuff drops through the next screen, and like-sized material is jigged together on the other side, and then the bigger stuff comes out here. And that's where everything ended with the South African plant. I mean, this whole plant came from South Africa, and their idea was just end it right here. Well, what if you had a big diamond? You'd be losing it. And what if, in our case, see, in South Africa, they may have just been running gravel. But in our case, this is the lamprite ore that could have a diamond trapped inside here, inside of these rocks. Now, a diamond doesn't stick to anything, and but it could be encased in this volcanic rock, and we need to break it out of its entombment. And so I thought, well, we'll run everything down, see if there's a big diamond, and we'll catch all the material, and we'll run it back through, and it'll all break up. Well, it doesn't break up when you run it back through. So here's the new plan, and you're the first to know, besides my wife, who approved the investment in the equipment. We are going to remove this gold sluice, which I added on anyhow, and we're going to put right where this discharges, right where it comes out this hole, we're going to put a rock crusher. And it just arrived. A truck brought it, and I put it on the trailer. It went to my house, put it on the trailer, and brought it here. And it's a small rock crusher, but I think it'll be just right for this. For one thing, these aren't really hard rocks. You saw me break some apart with my fingers, so I believe this rock crusher will go right below that chute. It'll drop in and go right through the rock crusher, and then it'll drop down into this gravel pump, and it will be sitting over there with the rock crusher on it. And when let me set this up just a second, show you. I can talk with my hands. So I'll have the rock crusher sitting here at that chute, and it'll be running all the time, and as gravel goes through it, it pulverizes it, it makes it smaller. Now, I don't want it sand size because I don't want to break a diamond, but I'm going to break it up to release the diamonds that are inside those larger pebbles. So it will drop from that chute right through the crusher into here with water, gravel or sand, or, you know, broken up gravel, crushed rock, and water will pump in this water pump. See, this turns, and it turns that pump, and this hose will be hooked to it when I get it in place here, and the hose will reroute everything, follow the green hose, so it goes back up and feeds back into the top. That's where we put our ore in. So then it'll go back through the whole process, turning around in the large rotary scrubber trommel, and back down the chute through the smaller trommel, hopefully fall through this first set of screens, and then we're only dealing with it once. So I'm anxious to see what's inside the mystery box. I ordered it online. I've never seen one in person. This other box is a 220 volt motor. What I did, I had gotten this gravel pump when I worked in diamond exploration and recovery. We had this gravel pump, and the company I worked for sold the diamond recovery plant. They disassembled it and shipped it up to Thunder Bay, Ontario, Canada, but they didn't want this gravel pump, so they left it behind. Well, it had a 220 volt three-phase motor on it. Well, I looked to see about getting three-phase run in here, and just a few hundred feet of three-phase wiring is going to be 45 or 50 grand. So we said, okay, we're not doing that. So no three-phase. We got single-phase electricity in here. And I had a 110 motor, so I just rigged up and bolted it on here. And I had this pulley and that pulley, and I bought a belt, and I put it on, and I plugged it in, and sure enough, it turned, but it didn't turn fast enough to lift that water that high. So what's in the little box over there is a 220 volt motor on here, and hopefully it has the right RPM to spin it fast enough to lift it. I know it'll have enough muscle now. If it doesn't spin right, I can, instead of having the small pulley here and the big pulley there, I can switch them or completely buy different pulleys or whatever, but I'll rig it to where it works. But I have tried this before and it didn't work because the motor was too small. In fact, I hate to tell this on myself, but I put the motor on. I went all this trouble hooking this up, rigging it up, buying the hose, making the flange and everything. But I turned it on and it like didn't move the water at all. And I thought, oh nuts, I got it rigged up wrong to where it's turning backwards. It's not pumping it up, it's pumping it down. So I undid the motor, turned it over so it'd go the other direction, and I rigged it all up and everything and hooked it up and turned it on and realized, no, I had it right the first time. So I put it all back together the right way, and it is turning the right way. It just doesn't turn fast enough to pump it all up that high. We've probably got about 17 feet of head pressure, and you got to lift all that water in the hose plus the gravel. So anyway, trial and error. So not every day spent at the diamond mine is diamond mining, but I'm going to get it fixed up. My problem was I didn't like losing the big rocks off the end because there could be a big diamond in it. But I got so many buckets when I ran the plant. There were so many buckets of this material, and I was wearing myself out catching all this at the end. So I would catch all these buckets while I was running the plant, making sure all the water pressure was adjusted right and watching and making sure all the pumps were pumping and everything. And I was gathering all this gravel, and then we'd put it in the skid steer and feed it back in. Well, it all come right back down to me and end up in the buckets again, and then I was just loading it all up again, so we weren't getting anywhere. But I don't want to discard all this. I don't want to throw away all this diamond bearing igneous rock, this lamperite. I want to find out if there's diamonds in there. So I need to crush it and run it back through. I don't want to use an excavator to dig up this. It was a solid rock, of volcanic rock, and we've got a lot more of it up there. I don't want to dig it with an excavator, load it in a dump truck, haul it down here, have a skid steer pick it up and run it through the plant, and only process like 70% of it, and the other 30% go to large rocks that you just throw away. I want to process 100% of it so I get all of the diamonds out of it. So that's why we invested almost $2,000 in the rock crusher and this 220 motor, and then we'll got to pay the electrician to wire those two 220 motors too. So there's a 220 motor on the rock crusher as well. So anyway, we've got some work ahead of us. We're going to be down for a little while, but my neighbor Mac, who runs the skid steer and feeds the plant, he had knee surgery, so he's recovering right now, not running the plant anyway. So I thought, well, this would be a good time to get the modifications done so that when he comes back, it'll be cooking. We'll be working then and hopefully keep busy through mid-December or so. So we hope to run a lot of ore, but I wanted to make these improvements on the plant so that we're processing getting 100% of the diamonds out of our ore and not throwing away stuff that, you know, there could be diamonds in that. So I would love to have a demonstration, break one of these open and say, see there, that's what I'm talking about. See that diamond in there? Well, it didn't happen, but anyhow, we're going to crush up all this stuff, and it doesn't look like it'd be hard to crush since I can break it with my fingers. So anyway, that's what we got in mind. I'm going to shut the camera off and open the box. It's Christmas. I want to see what the rock crusher looks like that I ordered online, and I got some work to do.